this nonsense just won't go away. I have to laugh, otherwise I'll cry. But the latest lunacy from the Liberal Democrats, a party who can't decide whether their logo is yellow or orange, have now said that menstruation is not just a woman's issue. And that it also affects some trans and non-binary people. Well, here's a man having a period.
Why? Stop. Why is this thing not hot? I swear to God, if anyone says welcome to womanhood, I'm gonna...
You gotta be joking, right? OK, let's just get back to reality. First of all, a trans man is a biological woman. Now, that is my view. There is no such thing as non-binary. That's just been made up in the last few years when some people lost their minds and decided that biological sex had nothing to do with gender. Claptrap. I'm sorry, but I don't have to buy into this. Biology matters when it comes to periods, as they are the very thing that occurs in puberty that define what a woman is, and arguably the time when the female of the species becomes a woman. But I can't say I'm surprised, given the confusion of their leader, Ed Davey. Here he is, speaking to LBC.
The vast majority of people will have the same gender as their biological sex, but a small number won't.
So a woman can have a penis?
Well, quite clearly.
Now, he had a chance to redeem himself, but sadly, he'd gone too far down the rabbit hole.
A few weeks ago, you did this interview on LBC. Nick Ferrari asked you, can a woman have a penis? You said, well, quite clearly. Without getting into the specifics of the issue, you said you were talking about a small number of people. You faced a big backlash for those comments. Have you had a rethink since you said that?
The position I described in that programme is the one that I think is just factually true, namely that the vast majority of women feel that their gender is the same as their biological sex at birth. But it's just a fact that a few don't, a small number don't. And the law in our country has recognised that for the last 20 years and given them protections. And all I think is that the debate should focus on that, on the facts, and we should be a bit more sympathetic and calm and compassionate to people.
But this is not about that. This is about biology. I mean, they have literally eviscerated the very last shred of credibility they had. Who the hell's going to vote for them now? You could look at this favourably as though what they actually meant was that men have to deal with women's moods and emotions during the period, which would be considerate and very considerate thing to do. But sadly, that's not the sentiment. And the Liberal Democrats passed a motion stating that periods aren't just a women's issue. Helen Joyce, Director of Advocacy for Sex Matters, said passing a motion that periods aren't just a women's issue is a bleak moment for the Liberal Democrats. She went on to say language about health issues must be clear and factual, and the fact is that only girls and women can have periods. Helen Cross, the chair of the Liberal Democrat Women, welcomed the inclusion of non-binary and trans people in this motion. Well, Wendy Chamberlain, one of the very few Liberal Democrat MPs left and deputy leader of the Scottish branch of the party, had this to say about inclusion on Camilla Tominey's show this morning.
Have you removed woman and changed it to people who menstruate? Because why not say women and...
We haven't removed women at all. I mean, I know women and girls struggle with this issue, but I think we also have to make sure that we are inclusive and we make sure that we're considering everybody in our policy making.
Do you know many men who menstruate, though?
Camilla, we're talking about period poverty. I think it was a really strong, powerful, and I really wish you had been there. You should look it back on YouTube to hear the debate.
I think perhaps you should watch that back. Forget diversity and inclusion. This is more about delusion and exclusion.